Hello, Gemini. Thank you so much, you guys, as always, for being here. Okay, Gemini, so looking at your last week of November, you pulled Creator, Destiny, and Release. This, to me, very much had the feeling of create or be consumed, right? So there's this feeling of like what you're destined to create. But this is about bringing something out. And it may be that there's a need to change the rules. It's not giving into this feeling of fate, like things are fated to happen a certain way with what you're trying to create. There's this needing to kind of like take a stand and dare to have life the way that you want it to. That's what Destiny's talking about. But what's interesting here is that in order for you to be able to create, there's a need to change the rules, but you also need to release any negative energy that's surrounding you. That may be what is blocking you and may consume you, where you should be creating something different. But release talks about different ways of getting out of negative energy and how to get rid of that. And I think for you, there may be a need here to kind of create a different type of like habit or ritual when it comes to cleansing you and your space. But getting rid of negative energy is going to be important. Otherwise, it's going to block anything that you've been trying to create. And it may feel like there's a set path or a set like way of things being done where you're going to have to kind of break the rules on that. It's almost like I understand that you think things have to be this way, but I'm going to tell you no, and I'm going to create what the hell I want. And that may be where the negative energy is coming through. If somebody's trying to control what you choose to create, right? But it's interesting how there's this importance on releasing anything negative. Your overall, the past, the Six of Cups. So, and I like this one because there's this feeling of this acceptance of the past and being able to move on. In a much better way. I'm always very cautious about what we're bringing in from the past. And this came up for Aries too, but this was in their outcome. And it very much reminded me of how there are times where we will look at past situations and make them look a lot better than what they were. Putting on the rose-tinted glasses, so to speak, right? But we'll see how past and past emotions are playing out here. Okay. So the King of Pentacles in the past, absolutely, we could be talking about a person, or we could be talking about success that you may have gained in the past. I always look at the King of Pentacles and think he has the ability to give what's necessary to make anything successful. But is it worth taking a risk on? Now, some of you may be looking back at the past and thinking about how you may have been able to give to something, possibly a relationship, or how somebody else may have been able to do that, and that maybe coming back through again. It's like somebody from the past coming to revisit you and those emotions kind of coming back up again. And it's like, is there a chance for success? But that really depends on how you feel about the past or a past person, right? Okay. So, and I hate the fact that the devil is connected to Capricorn, because I think a lot of people tend to forget that. The reason why that's there is the devil can represent a lot of obstacles that we face. But the goat is able to traverse the mountain effortlessly, right? That is the power of Capricorn. But, you've got Earth going on here big time. The devil in the present moment, we're talking about things that are tempting and addictive, negative, toxic, bad patterns, things that you choose over and over again, but are not for your highest good. And, I'm going back to release and thinking, if there's something from the past coming back up, where you're revisiting some emotions. There may be a reason why a relationship wasn't successful. And absolutely it could have to do with somebody being too materialistic between these two, for sure. But I want to see what's going on here. But right now, it's like you're seeing the negativity of the past. And there's a need for you to walk away from it. And I wonder if it hasn't prevented you from finding success, not just within your life, but within relationships though too, right? But something about this may be tempting you again. And that may be connected to the past emotions that you have. Future conditions, the Two of Pentacles, there's always, it seems like, reoccurring cards that happen within certain readings. And this one seems to be continuously making an appearance. It's like, it's an opportunity for me to really look at my relationship with this card, let me tell you. The Two of Pentacles, it's like you keep playing with it. I always feel like with this one, when you're doing the balancing act, it's like trying to maintain something, but you're not really doing anything with it. You've got all this other stuff going on, and there's this one thing. And you keep balancing it in your life. But is anything coming out of it? Is anything realistic coming out of it? And with the Devil here, it may be that you move into a place where it's time to make the choice to either make something out of this or let it go. But with the Devil, I would say stop playing with it. It's time to make that choice now, right? And again, there's this like, I need to walk away from these emotions that I may have been hanging on to about this situation. It's time to move past that. But that may be hard for you to do because something about it, like, it has this feeling of pulling you back in. Your best path to follow, the Hangman. Damn, man. So, right, like, I think in order for you to make the best decision for you, especially considering that what you're looking at in the present is the Devil, there may be a need for you to kind of like make a sacrifice here. And it may be that, yeah, there may have been some good things about the past, but you can't, ignore the negativity that's presenting itself to you right now. This is like, you need to just not do anything here. You need to put everything on hold. Because before you make any kind of a decision here, right, you need to see things from a very different perspective. Instead of this like clouded emotional feeling from the past. It's like you're not seeing it exactly right. But that's because of the temptation in the present, right? But what I worry about here is if you don't seek a different perspective, are you going to continue to play with something that's never really going to turn into anything? Right? Like, I feel like what's being put in front of you is the temptation of, a situation becoming successful when that's not exactly the truth. But because that possibility is presenting itself, it's like you continue to kind of like play with the emotions based on, what you felt in the past. It's like there's two different sides to it. There was the good moments, but then there's also the really bad and negative that we just can't ignore. And you're going to have to see it. You have to see it. But it's something about how you felt about the past, though, right? Wow, man. Okay. In your environment, the Nine of Swords with the Devil, yeah, right? So, I look at this and I think that your mind is not leaving you alone when it comes to the negative things that you know about either this person or this situation and how it affects you. It's like your mind isn't allowing you to forget. So, And this may also be the negative aspect of what you were dealing with. If, some past emotions are coming back to revisit you in regards to a relationship in particular, this is like, it's tempting, but I can't forget what happened. And with the Nine of Swords, right, it's like, it's all that negative energy and all that shit that you need to release, right? Wow, man. Now, for some of you, absolutely, it could be that we're looking at a situation where past emotions may be clouding the way that you're seeing a situation that could be successful. But because of fears, it may not be happening right now for you. But I can't help but look at this and go, you're going to be left trying to maintain things on your own if you continue to attach to, emotions that weren't sustainable because of the Devil and the Nine of Swords, right? Your hopes and your fears, and again, right, the Seven of Pentacles, it's reevaluating the situation. Could things be different? Could there be better growth? You haven't really seen the full picture here, but you're starting to get a sense of what's going to happen out of this situation. But if you're reevaluating it based on past emotions that may have been like, things were good at one time, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to, translate well into future conditions. And again, I say that because I'm looking at this. It's like your mind is not letting you forget the negative that happened. A different perspective may be needed, yes, but that's so that you're not left like holding the ball and being forced to like make a decision of what to do here. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, that is something that you need to let go of too, because I'm looking at something that isn't healthy for you, and you know this. But your perspective may be clouded because at one point it may have felt good. And I really think that this has to do with, and it's interesting how the King of Pentacles is kind of playing into this way. There's, when it comes to the court cards, there's two very different sides to each personality. But the King of Pentacles specifically has the ability to make a situation successful. But if you're dealing with somebody who's a little bit too materialistic, it may be that, they're not invested in you, they're invested in themselves. And again, I say that because of this going on. But I feel like you need to kind of like hold off. You may need to sacrifice the way that, you may have saw things in the past or felt about things in the past. Or like in the beginning. In the beginning there were, these beautiful emotions. But it clearly was not sustainable. And that may be, what you need to sacrifice here. Otherwise you're going to keep looking at this going, is it possible that something else can develop out of this? This would be a no. And this would be telling you you have to see that, right? And then coming out, you have the Four of Wands. Interesting. So celebrating new stability, right? A new foundation kind of being built here. I have to see this Four of Wands. What is going on here? Temperance. Okay, and with the Devil, yeah. That's exactly what you need, right? Not to be tempted. The Hermit. Okay. And then Strength. All majors coming out for your fire. Wow, man. Okay, so Temperance, right? This is holding back. It's moderation and it's balance, inner balance. And with the Devil being in the present moment, I feel like you have been maintaining this inner balance for a while. But something about this makes you question on whether or not, there is a possibility for something different to happen here. But the new foundation that's being built for you, I think, has to do with you walking away from past emotions, like accepting that, they were what they were, and at one time they may have been great, but, I see where things are now. And it really is about you needing to hold off. I'm telling you, hold off from making any kind of a choice. Now, in future conditions, if you choose to kind of like let go of the past and what may have happened, or let go of this idea of any kind of new growth happening, it may lead to a much better kind of like foundation for you to start building off of. But, there's this kind of like celebration that's happening here, but it's because you're holding back. And you may have been holding back from like looking back at this for a while. And with the Hermit and looking at the Devil and the Nine of Swords, again, it's like your mind won't let you forget that you are not where you want to be. This isn't where you saw this situation going. But it took you a minute to like step away from it in order to see that, right? So I think that for some of you, it's not so much about, going into isolation, but it's like, I need to remove myself from this and not be tempted by this again. And it's you needing to, find that inner strength to not give in, is what I want to say here. But that may be the new foundation that's kind of being built. But it's really about where you see you in yourself in this situation. I'm looking at this situation where things could have been successful, but I feel like it was completely out of your hands, but yet you still have it there. The opportunity is still there, and you can make the decision on whether or not you want to try that again, or if you want to let that go. But either way, with the Four of Wands and looking at your clarifiers, it's about a new foundation for you. And once you build that better foundation, right, that's what's going to bring in things that are more positive. People that are more positive. Maybe not so materialistic. More willing to give what's necessary to make things successful. That seems to be the big time message that continuously is coming through. It's really about the connections that you make with people on whether or not they're willing to give their part. Because they're all showing up as they absolutely could, but they may be plagued by their own bullshit that they're not seeing, that whatever they want to have become successful can be, especially with you. But past emotions, man, it always seems to be that way, right? Like, I remember those feelings. But with the Devil and the Nine of Swords, there's something about this that your mind is not letting you forget about. Like, I remember how bad that felt. But yet, there's this kind of like dance that you keep doing with this. But if you take yourself away from the situation, I think that a better foundation is going to be built for you. And it's funny, I'm looking at release and this need to create. What I would say is that if this has to do with a past negative relationship coming up to like tempt you again, my advice, if you're looking at building a new foundation and creating something different, is literally get a notebook and start writing down specific things that you want to have in a relationship, in a partnership, in a business relationship, whatever it is. Get specific about it. And that may kind of help you to see where you've actually, wanted to be, where you saw things leading. But inner strength is going to be required for you to take a step back on this. Wow, man. Be open. integration and expansion. So needing to be open to integrating this experience in a positive way in order for you to expand your experience. Because the devil kind of has this like repetitive feeling to it. You know, again, the whole choosing it over and over again, right? But you see the negativity that's there and your mind isn't letting you forget about it, you know? And instead of continuously going over that, it would be easier for you to just be open to integrating this into your experience in a way where you're able to release the negative energy, right? But expansion in your life, and this could be expanding, you know, different business opportunities, different relationships, different friend groups, right? But something needs to go beyond where you currently are. Miracles, expect the wondrous to emerge, and that may be where that Four of Wands is coming through. And discovering truth, you stand in the light of truth. You know, and as much as I hate this whole like ruminating feeling with the Nine of Swords, there may be a reason why your mind is not allowing you to forget the negative aspect of either, you know, this person, this situation, whatever it may be. But discovering that truth may help with like integrating it, right? And what I mean by that is integrating it in that you're aware of the experience and you're aware of how it's made you feel and think, but you're not allowing it to affect or dictate what you create moving forward. But wow, man. And looking at the Hangman as your advice in the Six of Cups, it's like, yeah, you know, there may be some things that you're going to have to see differently, you know? And there kind of is this like feeling of, if you continue to hang on to certain emotions, they may continuously be putting you in this loop of thinking that something different can grow. But is that really in your hands? If you're already willing to do that, right? It may be the choice of another person. But the change of perspective here in your ability to hold on to inner strength, step away from a minute, right? And hold yourself back, I think is where this new foundation is going to come in for you.